workshop today is going to be facilitated by Dr. Michael Picucci. Thank you, Michael, for hosting today. I'm standing here with my best friend, my oldest friend, Nick Werber. We've helped organize and set the workshop up today. And Nick would like to start by sharing some of his experiences with focalizing in a brief supported dialogue. What attracted you to focalizing originally?
So I came to an introduction that actually some of the people here were at, and the thing that got me really excited about focalizing was how I felt like I was so naturally connected to my authentic self. I spoke from a place of authenticity, and the people I was talking to in that workshop spoke from that same space. Right around that time, I had read a book called Radical Honesty that was all about kind of anytime you feel or think something, say it out loud, get it out, and almost embarrass your ego over and over again. Make yourself vulnerable, and that's how you get to a place of feeling present. But it was very rule-based, and even though I did feel some things that I feel through focalizing, I was amazed that, again, through this work, I naturally connected to that space.
What did you notice about these authentic moments through focalizing that were different?
Yeah. For me, the first thing was clarity. My actual vision felt like it kind of went into HD. I was just seeing things around me more clearly, and I think in conversation, the biggest thing I noticed is that when something was funny, I just really wanted to laugh. It's just like my emotions welled up, and the things I said, I felt, and whenever I felt something, that's what I wanted to, or that's what I described. And again, I felt like I kind of came to that place without such like a black and white rule-based way of doing it. It was just a natural process of getting there. For me, it's just, I would love to be in that space all the time with anyone I meet. And so the idea of kind of sharing thoughtfulness and just that more and more people out there could kind of naturally relate to each other there I think would be really powerful.
Thank you for sharing, Nick. I'd just like to take a quick moment and thank the Alma Mafi's House for providing us with this space today, and to thank you guys again for being here, especially to thank you for allowing us to videotape our presentation here. There's an institute in Brazil that has taken an interest in Michael's work, and they would like to set up their own introduction. So they've asked Dr. Picucci to film our presentation. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up Dr. Michael Picucci.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate that, and I so much appreciate the young focalizers, so to speak, for initiating and inspiring this particular introduction. I have a fondness in my heart, of course, for the process itself, which has kind of come through me, and also for the younger folks who are doing this work. There's excitement that runs through me when I work with people like under 35, because they get to work. They get it so quickly often, and they put it to work so quickly, and it's just so delightful to experience that, to watch it, to be a part of it. And I also, on a sociological level, I believe that your generations that are the first ones to grow up in a world where you see that the world around you isn't working. I grew up in a world where you saw progressions to things, that if you do this and do this, that you will probably get this. You're growing up in a world where you see that most of the systems in play are dysfunctional. and you have to figure out a way how to navigate this. And my own sense is that something like focalizing, which can connect you with nature and help you in making your choices moving along, can be a great resource in a time when nothing else makes a whole lot of sense. So anyway, putting all that aside, I was going to do a quick example of the two me's. You know, there's the one me, because of course you already got some of the authentic me, so I jumped ahead of myself. But there's the me that you see in everyday reality. The Michael comes up and says hello to you, and that is me. You know, that's but that's the well, actually it's me all the time now. But there is another me that I want you to know, which is the one that I hope that I will be coming from throughout this event this evening, which is the embodied me. It's the me that's in touch with nature, that I feel while I'm speaking to you. I feel the vibration go through my whole body, and I feel informed by my body in my choice of words and how to articulate myself, how to be with you, how to create space for you to have whatever experience you're meant to have here. And that's a space I actually live in. So, I think the more you focalize, you'll find out that you live in that space more and more. And then you say, oh, okay, now how do I navigate the existing realities of physical reality? Because when I'm in this space, it's almost a ethereal space. Because you're in so much in the sensing of what you're doing that the physical reality doesn't make all that much difference at the moment. Does that make any sense to anyone? Anyway, so we're here for an introduction to focalizing, going within to move beyond. So obvious are words, but we live in a world and a culture, and we've all been conditioned to look out here to fix our problems or to feel better or to get what we need. And in focalizing, it like turns that upside down. And so we begin to learn how to look within and find resources that are right within us, part of our nature. So it's a completely different shift in perspectives. That's one of the reasons why we have been referring to it as a new human technology. Because it is a technology. It has very specific guidelines. And if those guidelines are applied in the right spirit, it always works. And I also like the idea of calling it a technology, because that helps separate it from all the other healing and spiritual modalities. Because even though it can be used in psychotherapy, and I use it, and it's billable, to insurance companies as psychotherapy, because it does definitely help one retune their psyche. But I don't think of it primarily as a psychotherapy, or even primarily as a healing modality. I think of it as a way of remembering who we really are, and having that be able to guide us. So in focalizing, by shifting our awareness to our body, to the body, rather than just the mind, okay, switching our awareness to the body rather than just the mind, we can resolve perceived limitations, bringing great healing to what has eluded us. Okay, because sometimes the healing comes to something we didn't even realize was there to be healed, and that helps open the flow of energy, the natural flow of energy. So focalizing, again, going within to move beyond, is a naturopathic process to rediscovering our inner guiding forces. And in the book I use the analogy of a flower, a plant growing towards the sun naturally, just knowing how to do that. And that's what this is. This is a naturopathic process in which once it's awakened in us and we feel connected to it, we begin to grow towards it naturally because it feels good and it's nourishing. Okay? So it's an embodiment of mind, body, and nature. And nature, to me is an important part of all of this. Yes. Releasing us from the limitations of our stories. Releasing us from the limitations of our stories. We all have stories. I mean, I have memoirs coming out next year with tons of stories, but I don't cling to them. They're not, nor am I limited by them, except some of my learning deficiencies. But I find other great people to come in and help me with those. So releasing us from our limitations of our stories, producing tangible results with each encounter. Producing tangible results. So every time one does focalizing, they can expect to experience some kind of tangible result inside of themselves, which will probably in some ways manifest outside of themselves immediately or afterwards. A new state of well-being. Okay, because when we're in touch with nature, and when nature is like part of our party, it is a different state of well-being than the way most of us have been conditioned in the evolutionary process up until this point. So what I want to do now is I want to give you a first quick kind of personal experience, okay, of this. And I'm going to ask you all, if you're comfortable doing it, to just find get as comfortable as you can in your seats. Check in with your body, just say, hello, body, are you comfortable? Do you need to be shifted here or there? And now I'm going to lead you just through a little grounded presence exercise, okay? So just closing your eyes, begin, so whatever to you would be a looking inward. And that's one of the reasons we close our eyes, just to avoid the visual distractions, to just be able to look inward into that what sometimes feels like a foreign world because we're not accustomed to doing it, but just to whatever we happen to be noticing as we breathe. And I'm going to ask you to bring attention to the soles of your feet. And just notice any connection that you may feel between the soles of your feet and the inside of your shoes, and perhaps with the soles of your shoes touching the carpet under them. You might even want to press down a little bit to get a stronger felt sense. This kind of helps us wake up the felt sensations in the body that we don't normally pay attention to, while also allowing for the grounding energy of gravity. So you might even notice the hardwood floor under the carpet. And of course, or you may want to also bring your awareness to nature's gravitational force, which is gently holding your feet in place, almost like a gentle magnet. So there's no effort, no work that you have to do to let your feet just gently rest on the floor. And then slowly bring awareness up your lower legs. It's like saying, hello, lower legs. Just kind of acknowledging, noticing. You have lower legs, and then upper legs, and then your buttocks, and your back. Good. And then your neck, your head. Hello, head. Good. And then as you're ready, gradually down your shoulders and your upper arms, your lower arms, hands, fingers, maybe even fingertips. You might even notice. You might notice awareness of your fingertips. And then shifting the focus of your attention to your breathing, just the natural in and out of your breathing, just allowing it to breathe itself, just the way it's doing it. Just noticing, allowing. You may also want to notice that there's no conscious effort in breathing, that it happens by the process of your innate intelligence doing it as it runs all your organs and your sexuality, or your sexual drives. So again, no effort in your breathing. The breathing is breathing itself. It knows how to do that in any situation. It knows how to breathe. So it's not something you really have to even be concerned about. And now I'm going to ask you to just take a couple of seconds and to allow for any of those head noises, like voices of judgment, judgment of yourself, judgment of what we're doing here, judgment of others. Just allow voices of judgment, voices of cynicism, and even voices of fear, maybe especially voices of fear. Just allowing them to float away. Just allowing them to float away just while we're together right now. To float away and go on vacation somewhere, wherever they might be comfortable. So you can be as present as possible for just noticing your body and your being. Good. And now I'm going to ask you to take your two hands and just rub them together slowly. Just take your two hands and rub them together slowly. And then maybe pick up the pace if you're comfortable doing so until you start feeling a little friction, a little heat. Good, 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 good. And then once you start feeling the heat, I'm going to ask you to make a very gentle and very slow move to put those two hands with the friction and the heat over your chest, over your heart. And just notice, just allowing for the breathing and just noticing any connections between your hands and your chest and your heart. And again, in any way that you can wrap words in your own head around your inner experience, whatever that may be. Just kind of allowing for it, noticing without any judgment, any agenda. Good. And now I'm going to ask you to just slowly take your hands away and just put them in a comfortable place for yourself. And I'm going to now bring some imagery in and ask you just to allow an image to surface. An image to surface of a moment in time when you felt loved. Any moment in time when you felt loved. Or when you felt like you were giving love. And once the image comes, just circle the best parts of it. And just allow it to develop in your mind's eye for a minute. Letting the image fill in with any physical realities in that image that may have been there. Also, with any sensorial realities, like the texture of light or any sounds or smells or breezes or air. And if you notice that, just allowing for that too. And then I'm going to ask you to just send a signal down to your body, inviting it in whatever way it wants to connect with that image in your mind's eye. Just inviting your body in its own way, to connect with the image in your mind's eye. And just curiously observing if you happen to notice any changes in what's going on in your body. You may not. Whatever you notice is right. There is no wrong here. There's only noticing. Good. And now we're going to bring this to a landing for now. We'll be doing a couple of others like this. But for now, when I say landing, I mean not an ending or completion, but just letting it be while we re-engage on other levels of consciousness with each other. That many levels can operate at the same time. We want to allow this one to continue doing what it's doing, even unconsciously while we're not aware of it. And then bringing yourselves back into the room gradually and open your eyes slowly, reorienting to the light. Good. And now I'm going to ask you all to pick a partner, okay? And in doing this, it could be like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You make it as easy as you can. Just pick anyone. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes each. Actually, I think we could do this one in 1 minute. I'm going to give you 1 minute each to just share whatever you happen to notice doing the exercise. Just keep it in your own experience. Yeah, and if there's any like detailed stuff that you feel is private, you don't have to share that. You can just share your overview of the experience. You know what I'm saying? We don't want you to do anything that feels uncomfortable. And the person listening, which will be once you're in pass, I won't tell you this till after you're in pass, but I will tell you who goes first, okay, or suggest who goes first. The listener, appropriate job in a focalizing setup is just to make space for the person sharing. Just allowing them to share and putting our own stuff aside, whatever that may be, for that time, and to be like a vessel to receive and to hear so that their communication gets a sense of completion just by communicating with another person. And the sharer, just be as concise as you can about whatever your inner experience was that you happened to notice. Okay? Okay, and now the person who is closest to the front of the room, even an inch closer, is the person who reports first, while the other person supports them by receiving and listening, okay? And Scott's going to time it for us, and we'll give you 10 seconds before the minute's over, okay? So if you haven't just finished your last sentence, you can always chat more later. And shift, so now the person who just spoke will be holding the space or listening. How about 1 or 2 shares from the group? It's always nice to bring the group together by having a couple of shares. Anyone would feel comfortable sharing their experience?
So I came in a little bit late, and when you asked me to close my eyes, I don't know, I was just feeling rushed and like was on the verge of tears for some reason, just when you asked me to close my eyes. But, you know, really kind of feeling connected to my body, and my feet were what I felt were most connected to the ground. So then slowly just recognizing each part of my body, just feeling that connectedness that I felt in my feet. And then, you know, I felt a lot more than I expected from when I put my hands over my chest. And I could just feel like just space.
Just space.
Breathe.
It is really important, the word space.
Right.
Yes, space,
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, you know, when those when you're saying the thoughts of fear or thoughts of cynicism, they weren't even there to begin with already. So it was just nice, kind of like letting go.
Yes. Thank you very much.